Well, happy Friday, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk 101.1 FM. I am Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good morning, my friend.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for on this Masters Day 2.
You just said it. Masters will recap day 1 and what's going on in the morning of day 2. It's Friday, so we'll have our boy Chris Flail, and it's really just a free-for-all type show. We've got an NFL local star coming in town this weekend for a football camp. We'll promote that. We'll talk a little Masters. We'll talk a little NBA playoffs, some news out of the NFL, plus a big SmackDown. I'm going to ask you a bit later, but there's some questions I have about SmackDown tonight, and they are in California. And you can call or text in anytime throughout the show at 661-842-2000.
Yeah, I'm glad you have wrestling questions because I'm not going to lie to you. So I know I told you guys we were going to start the WrestleMania and the wrestling coverage next week.
No.
Yeah, I lied. We're going to stretch it a little bit. We're going to add an extra half a day because I got a couple sound bites that I've been aching to play, especially since we have Chris Flail in here. I mean, why not utilize one of the funniest comedians that does utilize the world of wrestling in his own comedy? So let's talk to him about what's going on. I got a bite here from Shawn Michaels on why we never got a match between him and The Rock at WrestleMania, which honestly, for the time, you would think would have been the biggest moneymaker the company could have possibly had. But if you actually look at the timeline of all of it, they really kind of missed each other because Shawn left for a while to deal with some drug issues. And that's when The Rock really took off. And some people even speculate that's kind of why The Rock was given the alleyway to actually take off. Because let's be honest, Shawn Michaels was probably the biggest wrestler at the time. But we got a whole bunch to talk about. Seth Rollins was on the Rich Eisen show with the draft right around the corner. Everybody's excitedly talking about Fernando Mendoza and the Raiders. So as the Raider affiliate, we'll get into that as well. But let's start with the Masters. Day 2 is underway. Rory McIlroy and Sam Burns, I almost called him Scotty. Sam Burns currently tied at the top of the leaderboard still, even though some people have started. Wyndham Clark has gotten off to a very hot start here in day 2. Shooting 3 under so far through 7, and that has jumped him up to a tie for third at the moment. But obviously, most of the people that are on top of the leaderboard have not started yet. We'll see if he stays up there. Rory McIlroy, though, I mean, proving me wrong, making me a liar. You guys heard me say it yesterday with Bolt Brady, our guy from Believe Network. I didn't expect it. I didn't think Rory was going to be able to just flip the switch again and turn this on. I mean, the majority of his career, he had struggles at the Masters. So personally, I thought we were going to get the same old from Rory, but it looks like he's looking to potentially take a second green jacket in a row. And it looks pretty dang good for him right now, but there's still 3 more days. So we'll talk about that as we get closer to it. The other story, though, that I wanted to highlight, because we did talk about his ingenuity, I guess, his ability to adapt and do different things on the golf course to potentially help him win. But, unfortunately, Bryson DeChambeau did not have a very good day 1. Shot a 76 on the day, including a really, really, really ugly 11th hole where he triple bogeyed. I think it's safe to say, Sparky, I don't think the iron's helping. I don't think the iron's working. I mean, you heard Bolt Brady say it yesterday. You need good iron play in order to win this thing. And 76 just ain't gonna do it. It ain't gonna do it.
Out of my 3, I have Rory, and hopefully he can get me back up to par with what I'm getting out of
5 under at the moment. As long as he doesn't spit the bit in the last couple days, you should be good. I think that this is a great start for him, but we will see. This is a long tournament. It's a grueling tournament. I know most of you are saying, really? Golf? Grueling? Again. Go out there and try it once in a while, man. I know, I get it. I understand. There's a lot of criticisms around it, but it is what it is.
Why is it the only sport I can actually play better when I'm a couple drinks in?
It's
like pool.
I have a theory with that. I genuinely believe it's because of the lackadaisical nature of it all. If it was a tournament style, like if you're actually playing like in this type of situation like these guys are for money, I think it would be a different situation. But I think it is kind of that type of thing where if you're just, more loose with it, you're more.
It's golf, darts, and pool. I'm really good with the little buzz. Yeah. But if I tried to do that in basketball or football, I'd probably get knocked out.
Oh, yeah. 110%, especially football. Football would not be pretty if you had a couple pops before you hit the field.
But I'm not Marshawn Lynch. What was it that he would smoke a blunt and take a shot before games?
Well, he would also eat Skittles on the sideline.
Yes.
So
He's just a freak of nature.
and actually, who was it that I just saw? There was another player that asked for Sprite on the sideline now, and I can't remember who it is. He was a defensive guy, I think, for the Cardinals. If you know who it is, please feel free to chime in. 661-842-2000. Feel free to chime in at any point in time as well on this Friday. We'll talk to all of you guys on whatever topic you feel you would like to talk about today on this Friday.
And speaking of the Masters, you see the guy that hit the ball into the merch bag?
Yes. So that is one of my stories here. If you don't know what Sparky's talking about, I think that was Xander Schauffele, if I'm not mistaken, hit a tee shot or I believe it was a tee shot off of the ground, and it bounced and landed right into this lady's golf bag. And the problem with that is you have to play it where it lies. It's just like the Happy Gilmore movie. That wasn't just a joke. That is literally how the PGA plays it. You must play it where it lies. But luckily, the PGA at least is smart enough to know, okay, let's do this a little bit more calculatively. Let's figure out where this ball would have landed in the first place, then remove the bag so Xander, I apologize, does not have to hit it out of this lady's just bag.
I heard her. She got her bag back, but they didn't let her keep the ball. She's like, I just wanted the ball.
That would have been cool. That is a piece of merch that every golf fan would love to walk away with, is a golf ball from their favorite golfer. And honestly, if I'm Xander, would have just given it to her. Why not? Like, how many more do you have in that bag, dude? You could totally pull out a different one, place it down, say, here you go. And even sign it for her. Who knows? That's a memorable moment at the Masters, especially right now where everybody is really looking for something to talk about. Let's actually, real quick, before I forget to play this, let's hear from Rory, the first round leader, on his thoughts about going into this tournament and just the feeling of it all, his emotions, and where he feels right now going into day two.
And I think the thing for me over the last 10 years here, it was I was trying to win the Masters, but I was also chasing the Grand Slam.
Of course.
So it was the two things that it really sort of teed up on the first tee today and not have that. I still felt nerves. I still felt the anxiety that I always feel when I tee it up here for the first time. But I just feel like I settled into the round really nicely.
Mm-hmm.
And when I hit it in the trees a few times on the front nine, it was like, you know what? It's okay. I'll figure it out, make a par, move on. So certainly a different feeling today. And hopefully that continues throughout the rest of the week.
It just seems like he is more lax, like you were just, or like I was just saying, but you were just highlighting. When you play play at a more laxed pace, a little more loose, things just go better for you in the game of golf. And if you're wondering, he is one of only in the game of golf. Gene Sarazen, Bogan, Garrett, Jack Nicklaus, and Tiger Woods would be the other five outside of him. It is not something that happens very often. Wrestling fans, if you're listening right now, we get it in abundance, to be completely fair. Everybody else, it takes a lot of work to get some sort of Grand Slam title at your sport. So,
and you brought up Papa Nicholas. You know, he also had some comments to talk about with Tiger, and said, "Dude, we need you back in golf, and you know, if you need some help, we'll get you a driver."
That's the thing that, and I've heard it from him. I saw, I think they asked Bubba Watson as well, his comment on the course, and we have Gary Player as well. I got some audio here, him talking about the entire thing with Tiger. We'll get to in a second. But I think that's the unanimous really message out to Tiger right now is we all want you here, dude. We don't like what we're seeing from you. We want you to be healthy. We want you to be happy. But we also want you to be on this planet. And we understand that this whole pill situation is just hindering your driving. So let's take the necessary steps that need to be started here to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
I mean, that's what all the comments were pretty much the same. I listened to Nicholas, and he was just saying golf isn't the same without Tiger. It was the same when I stepped down, and you know, we're all out here praying for you, Tiger. He said we all understand the pill situation. We've all been there with injuries. But if it comes to you behind the wheel, just stay away, sit in the back seat where you'd belong, and just relax. Because I know, you know, whether it's the trust issues or maybe he just has some stuff. Maybe it's the pills. Maybe it's this. But there's no reason to take pills and drive. It's just like any other narcotic, drinking, whatever. just if you're not sober, don't drive.
Don't drive. Not to beat a topic into the ground. It's just, I agree. Just hire a driver. Do something so this doesn't happen again. I get you want your privacy, but you could just look at your driver and say, park right here, stay here for the next 30 minutes. I'll be back, and just leave him in the car. It's not that serious.
There would be a line out the door
Right.
if somebody could say, hey, Tiger needs a driver.
And I get it that you can't trust everybody and somebody's going to sell you out. It's going to be rough finding a driver that you can actually trust to not do that. But you got to do it right now. You have to do it. And I know it's not Steve or Sparky's own Papa Jack here, but this is what Gary Player had to say about this entire situation. And Gary Player, if you don't know, is kind of known for being a little bit of a stiff. He's not really known for being the most likable guy, but honestly, he had some pretty sentimental words for Tiger. Let's hear from Gary.
It's very easy. The human being is so critical of everything. If I or any of you in this room had the pain that Tiger Woods had, think of the excruciating pain that this man has been going through for a long time. And I personally think, in my opinion, if I'm right or wrong, I'm sorry, but he was trying to be a Navy SEAL scout for a while. And funny enough, I had a friend who was a Navy SEAL scout. And he said this long ago. He said, Tiger will really suffer in future with his back and his legs. And look what's happened. I think it's 20 operations on one, either the back or the legs, but many, many operations on his leg and his back. So he's in pain. Do I blame him for taking medicine? Hell no. He has sleep deprivation. Do I blame him for taking something to help him sleep? No. But I don't think he should drive a car. When you're taking that medicine, it's dangerous when you're driving a car. Same as it's dangerous when you look at your cell phone in the car. There's 6,000 accidents a day in America in motor cars. So I just think all he's got to do is just not drive a car and get a chauffeur. I mean, my reflexes, I think, are as good as when I was 20, but I don't drive anymore. I get a chauffeur. And I think that's the answer to it. And but my heart goes out for him. I mean, there's nothing worse than living in pain every day of your life. You can't think of anything worse. So I just hope he can get it all sorted out, because he's such an asset to golf and has done so much for the game. I mean, there was never, when we were young people, there were no blacks playing the tour, guys. I remember going to Charlie Sifford in 1957, and I said, Mr. Sifford, how did you play today? I'm not allowed to play, I'm black. So I experienced apartheid in South Africa and in America. And Tiger comes along, and you realize what he does for the black man around the world. You can never work out what he's done for golf. So my heart goes out for him.
Again, it's something that we highlighted yesterday, the day before. He's not a junkie. He's just somebody that's in pain 24/7, 365. But everybody's had the same answer to this. It's the same answer I said months ago when the last one happened. Get a driver. Just hire a chauffeur. Although it's pretty funny to hear Gary Player, a man who's well past 20, say that he still has the same reflexes as a 20-year-old self.
Yeah, sure.
It's like I love that you still believe that, Mr. Player, but let's be honest. But even he admits, I don't even drive. I got a chauffeur. You have the money, man. Just do it.
And he's not going to be as lucky every time, man.
No.
I mean, what is this? The fifth wreck?
Well, no, it's the fourth wreck.
Fourth wreck?
Third time that I believe they're screening him for DUI situation here. And again, we said this yesterday when the story came out. There are now prosecutors that are looking into these prescriptions for Tiger. And if there is one bottle, that says, do not operate heavy machinery or cars while taking this prescription, he's done. Whether he's taking too much of it or not, it's done. They shut it down. And most likely he loses his license at the best. At worst,
some jail time?
Yeah.
I would expect him to, I mean, that would be the smartest thing after the fourth wreck. I mean, you got to take this guy's license. Maybe force him. Maybe that's a positive thing.
Okay, well, the other thing I'm thinking here as well, situation with the wife, are we counting that as a wreck?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's 4. That would be the 4th one. That's why I had to think in my head. That's why there's 3 instances with a DUI, but the 4th one's technically when his wife was coming at him with a putter.
And you got to
But-
save yourself from yourself.
Exactly. And it's something that Bolt had highlighted 2 weeks ago. I feel for the kids and the family because, again, this whole tomorrow's golf league they're trying to get off the ground that Tiger is very much a part of. His niece was supposed to be the star of the women's league for that. She is now going to be taking nothing but questions about her uncle. Charlie, if he decides that golf is where he wants to go, because let's be honest, he can make a pivot at any point in time and decide, I don't want to do this. He could pull a Michael Jordan Jr.? Was it Michael Jordan Jr.? Or no? What was his son's name?
I can't remember.
Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Michael's son, who decided, I don't want to play basketball. My dad's Michael Jordan. He could easily make the pivot because all he's going to be taking is questions about his dad and whether he's driving still. So, again, golf needs Tiger back. The Masters is begging for Tiger back because they still haven't figured out what to talk about outside of Tiger Woods.
Yeah, it's the biggest tournament of the year right now in golf, and that's all we're talking about.
Yep.
Which I understand. I mean, he's an icon in the sport and really in entertainment. And we all wish the best for him. And maybe some strict, some stuff comes down, and that's what he needs.
I hope the PGA just sent out, and the Masters sent out a notice to everybody, said, okay, you got it out of your system. Let's leave Tiger at the door now and let's focus on the golf. I know that's not going to be the case, but I hope, just because this is the first day everybody's back since the entire incident, so everybody's got to get their comments out. Or I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it that way because that sounds like the athletes want to actually talk about this. Everybody wants to, badger these golfers to figure out what they think about the Tiger situation. So we got it out of our system. Let's stop talking about it. Let's move on. Let's figure out who's the talking point of Masters Day 2.
I almost feel the same way with the NFL, with the draft a little over a week away, and all we're talking about is Vrabel and if he's cheating on his wife.
And you know what's funny? The bite that you had told me about off air, because for those who don't understand what's going on with this situation, New England Patriot head coach Mike Vrabel is now in pretty deep trouble with his wife, I would assume, after video and pictures have come out of him and a reporter or someone who covers the Patriots. I cannot remember her name right now, but Rossini, is that what it is?
Diane Rossini.
There you go, Diane. I knew it started with a D, but I could not remember what the name was. Diane Rossini, the reporter for ESPN. Yep. It is ESPN, who covers the Patriots. They're dancing together. They're doing all this stuff. I didn't know about this audio, which we're about to play right now. This is going to kill him in this area just solely because she's outright flirting with the man. So let's hear real quick from this altercation between Diane and Mike Vrabel from a couple weeks ago.
This I didn't sign up. I was not ready. And we're getting divorced at the end of the year.
Right. Stop breaking news. Don't say that.
It's hard. We're going through it.
Sorry, Kev.
He doesn't even know who I am right now.
Dude, and if you got the time or you listened to the show before us, they've been playing this all week.
Yep.
This conversation, it starts, I believe he works with the Eagles and she's a reporter. And now there's, some NFL teams coming out saying, if this has been going on for years, they've always been a little flirty every time we've seen her. And even deeper in that conversation, there is deeper where she talks about the texting with her and her husband, that they don't even talk. They don't, they're not in love anymore. And she's just waiting for the divorce. And this is every time she's with Vrabel. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those things. And now other teams are starting to investigate where, with her husband working with the Eagles and her working with other NFL teams, that she might be even a spy inside that's passing on information over to Vrabel and the Patriots.
This is a lesson for everybody that dating someone within your own workplace or somebody that is connected to your work is a bad idea, and you should never do it. Ever, ever, ever. Because there's probably nothing to this. There probably isn't, to be honest with you. Now, have they been flirting? Yeah, 110%. You just heard it. The woman is clearly flirting. And in the videos, again, I see kind of facial, expressions that make me believe maybe this is more just a friendship than anything. But I've been surprised before. And I have kind of noticed because from covering the NFL for the last year or so and watching, especially during the Super Bowl, how Mike Vrabel really addresses the media. He knows all of them by name, every single one, every reporter from the New England Patriots, he knows them by name. So he's got a relationship with all of these people. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that they would have that kind of relationship. It still doesn't look good though, and you're a dummy for even having this on television, you dumb individual, because you have a wife. Like, regardless if this is what it is or what everybody's claiming it is, this totally is gonna get you in trouble with the wife because this is cheating, dude. Or at least that's flirting with the idea of it. You're dancing with other women and, she's openly flirting with you and you're just kind of laughing it off, saying, "Ha, ha, ha, don't do that. That's not cool." And honestly, I saw this bite on Cam Newton's podcast, and I agree with him as well. For the individual who was married to Diane, uh, you're cooked, dude. If your wife is outwardly just making fun of you in public, especially on television,
making him look like a joke the whole time.
oh, brother, put it through. You should have those divorce papers written up right now.
And again, they've got kids, and it's just one of those things. It's like, I know it's their personal business. That's really we're a week and a half away from the draft, and we're talking this while the Masters is going on. We're talking about Tiger and his, driving under the influence, whether it's pills or whatever. It's just, it's crazy.
So weird. It's the world of sports these days. We've really turned into TMZ when it's the off season for the NFL.
But they're going to take shots at the WWE like it's scripted. I mean, look, we're seeing same type of soap opera entertainment in all sports right now.
Before we take our first break of the day, that is one thing that I've always laughed at. And I think John Cena highlighted it at the ESPYs when he was a host. You really don't think every other sports organization doesn't look at the WWE and say, we could actually use some of this to help us? You want to know what I mean by that? Join us after the break and I'll break it down for you. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Early bird special right here on KGEO Sports Talk 101.1 FM. Although I think it's actually now KISV 2.
I see ID, yeah, but we don't have to say that.
We don't have to say that one. We're going to stay KGEO. That's the name. Before the break, I teased you guys that, there are things that every sports organization uses from each other. They learn and adapt and pull things that can actually grow their product. And if you really don't think some of these guys are learning from the WWE, you're crazy. We were just talking about it before the break. It's Masters Day 2, and all people can talk about is Tiger. The NFL draft is right around the corner, and we're more worried about Mike Vrabel and his marital problems. And Tommy Gunn dropped a hilarious comment in the chat, too. You mean the coach with the owner? I'm sorry, the head coach of the team with the owner who gets illegal massages is having marital problems?
Well said.
Let's also not forget that his mentor is known as one of the biggest cheater of all cheaters. But hey, and I don't mean on his wife. Although, I mean, he's got a girlfriend half his age now. So who knows? Maybe he's on that track as well.
What do you know? The Patriots, a circus? What?
But being a circus, obviously you would think that they won't want to highlight these things. We don't want that in the news. We don't want the negative publicity. No. This is what I mean by this is what they've learned from things like the WWE. Sparky, what is entertaining to people most of the time on television?
Fighting, cheating, scandals.
Dumpster fires. Everybody wants to see something that makes their life look a little bit brighter.
Yes.
Let's be honest. That's why most people watch reality TV, because we know it's trash television.
Why do you think TMZ is so successful?
Exactly. And do you think the WWE doesn't do that as well? That's what a heel's job is to make life look like a living hell for the face. And honestly, the WWE is doing a great job of it now. But for how long, Sparky, did people who at least watched the product believe that this was real stuff, that this was blurring the lines of reality and fake and all of that type of stuff? They're continuously doing it even today. I was telling you guys just a couple weeks ago that they had two of the NXT wrestlers, Sol Ruka and Zarya, fighting on the streets of New York, blurring the line of real and fake. And what happened? That went viral. It got more attention than anything. That's what I'm talking about when I say that the NFL is learning from things like the WWE, or I'm sorry, that from things that the WWE is doing.
Yeah, why do you think Brady and Gronk were so involved right before their
Exactly.
flag football tournament?
How to turn around bad publicity and make it a talking point for your company as a whole and get everybody ready for the draft. Because let's be honest, that's the only reason they're letting this story get out and be talked about. You don't think they can talk to Adam Schefter and say, hey, can you quell down some of this talk about the Mike Vrabel stuff? Can you make it look like it's not that big of a deal? And again, I might be the only person on the radio pretty much telling everybody it's really not that big of a deal.
It's none of our business, first of all.
Yeah.
And second of all, if it was just some, bus driver for, I mean, we do this all the time. I mean, I go back to when I was still working at Kern Radio and how big of a deal it was when Arnold, our governor at the time, was cheating with his nanny.
Yep.
I mean, it's
who lived right here in Bakersfield, by the way.
And then they have a nickname for that kid too. And it's that line. And I mean, when it comes to sports, you have to add the entertainment. And I think the ones that do it the best is wrestling.
Yes, 100%. Well, wrestling has made an entire company off of it, though, to be fair. But again, if we're going to take wrestling out, I think the company that does it the best and still handles it the best is the NFL. Because again, how many times have we talked about the minute the offseason ends to the day the draft begins? It's TMZ, just like Sparky said before the break. It is TMZ of sports. Somebody's going to do something crazy. We're going to have a wide receiver driving crazily on the freeway, causing crashes. We're going to have a defensive end have a ridiculous breakup and drive his car into his ex-girlfriend's car and get arrested by the cops. I mean, it's a talking point from point A to point B. And how many times have we always said the NFL just wants to protect the shield? That's all it does is protect the shield. If it was trying to protect the shield, wouldn't you think that it would try to snuff out a lot of these stories and not let ESPN talk about them? No. They realize we got a couple heels on our hands here. We can make bad guys out of these guys or redemption stories. And guess what? That's all people talk about, and it keeps the company in everybody's mouths. It keeps everybody interested in what's going on. I'm telling you guys, for those of you who sit there and laugh at us and say it's wrestling, it's predetermined, it's fake, doesn't mean a dang thing, man.
It's entertainment.
Yep. And every sport, every single one, guess what it falls under? Entertainment. So they learn. They have adapted. They've evolved. I think the only one that really hasn't is baseball. Baseball is the only one that really hasn't tried to do that. They specifically protect their shield.
They try.
I mean, look at the Class A situation. Has anybody seen a major story on that in months? And they've been fighting that story for a while. He will not be returning to baseball, by the way. But again, that's what I'm saying. A lot of these guys learn from each other. And the NFL, that's all it's doing, is using what it's learned to keep people entertained. But it is almost draft time, as we are about a week or so away, 2 weeks away. And everybody knows that the Raiders are taking Fernando Mendoza, number 1 overall. We talked about this a couple days ago. Even Kirk Cousins, the would-be starting quarterback for the Raiders at the moment, after they signed him for a year. And I did see that bite you were talking about from the Carr Brothers podcast about them talking about or referring to his contract. And I don't know if that's their producer in the back trying to rib him, saying that it was a ridiculous contract again. But it's a team-friendly deal. It may be $11 million total, but Atlanta is paying about 8 point whatever of it. So they're not paying a ton for this man.
And just like the Tua deal, they can get out of it after a year.
Exactly. But everybody now is wondering what the Raiders should do when they draft Fernando Mendoza, number 1 overall. Should they start him right away? Should they allow Kirk Cousins to start and let Fernando really get used to the speed of the game, especially since we all know that the offensive line's probably not going to be as good as we're hoping it's going to be at first. We still need some time to learn. So maybe you just keep him out to protect him. But here's what Rich Eisen had to say about what he thinks that the Raiders need to do. And honestly, kind of agree with him.
I understand Raiders fans are excited and want to see this kid, and and you think he should start week 1. Hey, there's going to be a process. It's that simple. They're going to draft him, then they're going to see what they have. They know what they have from what they've seen, but they need to know what they have in terms of professional football readiness to get on the field. Did you not hear Matthew Hasselbeck when he came on the program after meeting with Mendoza on the field? He was chit-chatting with Fernando during the workouts that Mendoza was not taking part in, other than just being part and present for his combine mates. He said basically no quarterback should get on the field until they've mastered third down protection, to know how to protect themselves and know how to set things up prior to the snap to read it and protect. And that until somebody figures that out, they should not get on the field.
I love that Fernando knows that part of the game, or at least the technical side of it, that if he can't protect himself, what the heck is the point in being out there in the first place? But I did say this a couple weeks ago that I felt that it was going to be based on what happens in training camp, which one looks better outright should be the starter week 1. I'm starting to change my thoughts on that. I'm starting to lean more towards the Rich Eisen side of this. It should be Kirko. It should be Kirko to start out the season for the first 3-4 weeks. Let Fernando kind of figure things out. You know what you're going to get out of this kid, but you want the max amount of development out of him as quickly as possible in order for this to go the way you need it to go to kickstart this rebuild. So I say err on the side of caution, let Kirko start for the first 4 weeks. What say you?
I think it's the best thing to do. I don't know if the Raiders will do it.
Right.
Just because I know that they are the Raiders, but you want to protect that number 1 pick, whether it's a quarterback or not. But, you know, there's not very many opportunities to get the best quarterback in the draft with the first pick. You already have a veteran that you brought in for really pennies to the dollar with another team paying it. And, you know, there's a reason that there's a step to have a veteran in there, even if he comes out slinging it during camp. give him a couple games to watch behind somebody. And, if it turns out where Cousins looks like shouldn't be playing football, then maybe you pull him out. But I think it's the smartest thing to do. Everybody knows about your offensive line issues. Attack that, get a couple offensive linemen in the draft, pick up a couple more in free agency before week 1, and see if you can keep your quarterback standing, and 2, give this guy the best opportunity to succeed. And that's what you got to do.
See, I think that what you highlighted there is going to be the biggest defining factor. The only thing that I could see changing this, or should be the only reason to change this, if Fernando comes out in training camp and just looks leaps and bounds better than Kirk. And I mean like tiers above Kirk. Then you have to start in week 1. But I agree. I think the best possible thing for Fernando and his development and the team's development as a whole is to let him sit behind Kirk for a while. Let him still take about 65% of the first team snaps during practice so he can get used to that. But personally, if you just sit and let him watch the first 3-4 games, especially if he's going up against some of the harder defenses, the Broncos being one of them, I think that you'd probably be safe just to let him learn for a week or two instead of absolutely being brutalized by that defense.
Get him some receivers, get him something.
Well, I mean,
there's going to be a lot of holes that they still need to address, but I personally, I've seen 15 different quarterbacks do it in Miami.
Right.
You got to give that guy some time to adjust. And I mean, I wish him the best. I think he's going to be a stud, but I don't know if he's going to be a stud with the Raiders. And I just think the Raiders have had, so many different years, so many different times of rebuilding. I love Kubiak. I think that was the best hire.
Mm-hmm.
And, waiting until after the Super Bowl to bring him in, I think they're taking the step forward, but the biggest thing is going to be offensive line. Say you bring him in, you throw, Fernando out there, he gets hit a couple times. I mean, this is the same team where they had a first round running back last year, and he was starting each run behind because they had no offensive line. And I think they have so many opportunities right now to really build this for him in the future.
Right.
And I just hope they don't rush him out there and get him hurt or get him in his own head and makes the mistakes, because that's the hardest part for a quarterback. Once you're in your head, it is difficult to get back out of it.
Yeah, it's much like a kicker as well. It's the same kind of situation. But what's more important to the Raiders right now, in your opinion, fixing the offensive line or finding him someone to throw the ball to? Because personally, I think you have one guy at least with Bowers, so you can live with him having a subpar wide receiver room. You've got to figure out the offensive line first.
100%.
It did. I genuinely believe he can figure it out with a young guy, maybe even in year 2, much like we saw Joe Burrow do with Jamar. And I know that's not a fair comparison because Joe and Jamar obviously played with each other in college, but you can figure that out with Fernando. Find somebody that he could be comfortable with and do that in year 2. I think year 1, you've got to figure out a way to protect him first, because if you don't, there's no point in finding someone for him to throw to. He's not going to have enough time to throw him the football. It just is what it is. So let's take a break real quick. On the other side, we'll get to some of these other talking points. We talked about CJ Stroud yesterday and how important it's going to be next year for him to have a good season after this really, really subpar one this last year. Well, Devin McCourty came out and pretty much said something similar. We'll let you know what he said as well. And I want to get to some of these audio bites. Seth Rollins was on the Rich Eisen show. He had some comments about the Bears. And Brian Windhorst came out and said that the NBA might be seeing some coaching changes as early as next week. So we'll get on to all of that and much more. This is the Early Bird Special. We'll be back in about 3 minutes. One of these days we do need to have an entire segment where we break down the best songs or walkout songs, I should say, from wrestling.
He has the best one.
Of today, 100%. 100%. I know if you're all listening on YouTube, you have no idea what the heck we're talking about. You probably can barely even hear me right now because for some reason it muffles the audio. I don't understand why the board does that.
I play music.
Yeah, I don't get it, but it is what it is. I mean, Seth Rollins has the best entrance music.
We got to get the best for the best.
So much. Every time I hear it, I just get pumped, man.
It's just like every Friday when I know Flail's in the parking lot waiting to get in.
I know he's
I'm
probably
pumped
out there right
because
now
I know
waiting.
it's Flail Friday.
It's Flailhausen Friday. We do not nearly have enough time to break down a lot of these wrestling bites, so we'll save those for when Flailhausen gets in here. And I know we talked about Devin McCourty, but we might save that one as well because that's a good talking point for him. But let's hit some of these NBA stories because, again, we talked about it when it came to the NFL, but right now the NBA has had a really, really, really rough PR season, especially with this tanking stuff. And it reached an all-time high the other day when the Sacramento Kings were accused outright of just tanking when they fouled Steph Curry in a game against the Warriors with 3 minutes left while winning.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't know what the heck that was. The Kings have come out and said that was just a strategical error. What?
Okay.
All right. If we were watching high school kids, I would understand. But, a strategical error?
Yeah.
The NBA has come out and wiped it and absolved it and said, no, we're not even going to, we're not going to say this was tanking or this was for tanking. It is what it is. We're just going to let it go. Draymond Green was besides himself afterwards, though. But with all of this turmoil, all of this craziness going on in the NBA, the play-in tournament does start next week. The playoffs start very soon after that. And that means there's going to be a ton of teams looking for new head coaches, ton of teams looking for what they're going to be doing in the draft and looking for ways to improve their roster. And Brian Windhorst, the ESPN's, well, actually, I can't call him the top official in basketball because that's Shams Charania. I take that back. But in my opinion, Brian Windhorst has been there just as long and probably holds equal amount of respect in the realm. But this is what he had to say is coming next week.
I will say that, unfortunately, I think this is not the first time we're going to be talking about a firing. I think there's going to be quite a few when we get to our podcast next Tuesday. We record next Tuesday. I'm afraid a majority of that podcast is going to be talking about gentlemen who lost their jobs. So while I don't want to get in that game of eyeing ones, we certainly know that there's going to be some changes.
So right now there could be up to about 12 teams that are looking for new head coaches next year. The Bucks could be one of them. That's what he's talking about right now is Doc Rivers very much in the talks of being shipped out.
Yeah, he's lost that locker room.
We've talked about Billy Donovan with the Bulls, which could potentially be moved.
They've already came out and said that he is not getting moved.
Yeah, so that's a good thing.
No,
but
it's not.
No,
it's not.
I like Billy Donovan. I don't know about you. I like
college.
You are a Bulls fan, though, so you have more right to be upset with him than I. But point being that there are a lot of teams that are going to be looking for brand new head coaches next year. There are some that are going to be holding on to the ones that they're already rebuilding. But it's going to be one of those really rough seasons, or off seasons, I should say, for the NBA. And that's not even counting the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade, which is most likely going to happen at some point before the draft, I would assume, unless Milwaukee just punts on this draft and says, we're going to go into the next one. That would be incredibly idiotic, in my opinion, because this is going to be one of the deepest drafts the NBA has seen in quite some time. But still, crazier things have happened.
Well, you brought up Giannis. We had a listener that texted in and said, if the Knicks get knocked out early in the playoffs, they have to get Giannis. As a Knicks fan, he says we need him. I think you're probably right.
Because again, this was the season I think everybody kind of assumed the Knicks were going to make that step forward as the East perennial team. And they're being outshined not only by the Celtics, who played the vast majority of this season without their number one guy, but the Detroit Pistons, who, again, JB Bickerstaff, loved the man, could not explain to you how he turned this team around this quickly, or at least this quickly. Defensive basketball does thrive, but we'll see what happens in the playoffs. I'm not that convinced that they're going to make that deep of a run. But if Cade Cunningham can come back at 100%, they have a very good chance, at least to get to maybe the Eastern Conference Finals. But again, we'll see what happens. The Knicks, however, I think the Giannis trade, or at least the move to make, would be hindering on how they do this this postseason and how deep they make it into the playoffs. If they don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals this year with this roster, they're gonna make a move. I think if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, they'll probably hold off on making a major move like that, just because again they're that close.
It's a new year, new coach. We're
then
that
again,
close.
I mean, teams could just be looking at it as well and saying maybe Giannis is that piece that gets us over the hump.
And it's really going to come down to the cost.
Yes.
What are they going to have to get rid of?
I looked at it a while back. I'm trying to remember the trades that I had kind of structured for it, but Cat sending him out 1-for-1 would work. I know Mikal Bridges and a handful of other people would work as well. But you're right. It's going to be the asking price. What is the Milwaukee Bucks, or I'm sorry, what are the Milwaukee Bucks going to ask for this guy? Because you're going to get at least a surplus of draft picks. And do they even have high enough draft picks to entice the Bucks to take the deal? Because right now the Bucks aren't waiting for a player. They're waiting for the best available draft picks. So if the Knicks don't have the best available draft picks, sorry, Knicks fans, but you might not get this trade at all. They'll send him to wherever they want. And guess what? The Hawks are still an option. We'll see what happens when it comes to Giannis Antetokounmpo and his future and the NBA and their future, because like Brian Windhorst said, it's going to be a crazy offseason and could start as early as next Tuesday when the play-in tournament kicks off.
And it's official. The WNBA has approved the expansion teams. We'll get into that and much more with our boy, Chris Flail, after this break.
Absolutely. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. Welcome back. Oh, Lord. I forgot to put Chris Flail in here. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM. We're also streaming video live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can join us on all those social media platforms, plus Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook as well. What happened?
Little bit of evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna say,
always-
I almost didn't Danhausen because I was listening 2 weeks ago when you had Anthony Howdeggy on the show, and it felt like you guys were Danhausening at me and not Danhausening with me. And so I was like, you know what? They get no more Hausen out of me until
I always
I get some respect, Hausen.
Don't look at me. I wasn't me. I promise. Good to see you, sir. Good morning.
Great to be back. It's springtime. Love is in the air.
It is, and some rain, hopefully.
Hopefully.
And I want to tell all you out there, if love is not in the air for you right now, it will change. There is someone out there for everyone. And that someone is Diana Rossini.
She will be available here pretty soon unless Mike Vrabel swipes her up.
So fun, a little fun inside baseball. I've cultivated a nice little Twitter algorithm of these random insiders that'll pop up every now and then. I heard around like November, December through the Twitter wire, somebody was speculating allegedly out there that the final straw of what got Mike Vrabel fired in Tennessee was he showed up to the team Christmas party with someone who was not Mrs. Vrabel, and the owner does not play with stuff like that. And,
Really?
And allegedly that was one of the straws that broke the camel's back. And that was way back then before all of this stuff came out. And it does make more sense.
Again, I'm going to be on the side of a man and a woman can be friends. It's okay to be friends, you know. Like, it's really not that big of a deal.
All right, but let's talk to the married folk in the room.
No,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
my wife
Absolutely.
would
That's what I'm
choke me.
saying. I'm not saying your wife's going to be okay with it.
Spark, let's
But-
pretend you get caught in the most romantic resort in Bakersfield.
I will just say, my wife is listening.
That's
She's
what I'm
driving to
saying.
work,
Choose
so
your
I'm gonna
words very
keep it
carefully right
clean.
now, my friend.
But yeah, my wife would, one, kill me, and two, when my wife and I met, we were both going through a divorce and worked together at here at the radio station, and there was nothing. We didn't cross any lines. We weren't doing anything behind our significant others at the time. But
Absolutely.
like Burdick started the show out with, you know, relationships at work, you know, maybe
just don't
just
do
keep
it.
them away.
As somebody who I did that one time, big mistake. Should never have done that.
It
Should
is
never
definitely
have done
weird
that.
when you go back to work and
Dude,
there's an ex there.
Oh, it is the most awkward thing on the planet, dude. I'm telling you, it was my family business and I left.
Mm.
That's how awkward it was.
Oh, wow.
I'm not kidding.
Was it your cousin?
I was going to
No.
say, this is 2 weeks in
No,
a row.
no.
This is the Tiger Woods DUI. Well, I can speak from experience.
brother.
And now I left the family business because of a relationship.
We hired people outside the family.
Speaking of
dummy.
wording,
No, I won't say her name, but she is a good friend still. I don't know if she's listening right now, but she knows that it got really awkward afterwards, and it's just not something you want to get into.
Fantastic.
So,
Yeah.
but the Mike Vrabel situation, still, I just don't think it's that big of a deal. I really don't.
Well, the weird thing is how it's been kept so quiet. That nobody in the sports world, like ESPN, you've seen nothing on there.
Purpose.
On
Again.
purpose. That's the one that makes it go like, it makes it strange. If it was just reported and explained away, okay. But the fact that it's been kept so silent, I think, is one of the main things that's made it roll so heavy.
Maybe it was just me listening to every single one of those press conferences during the Super Bowl, but Vrabel has a relationship at least with every single one of these Patriots reporters.
Okay.
Man.
Yeah.
He does, whether it's
it's the Patriot way.
platonic or not. Well, it is the Patriot way. I mean, Robert Kraft has taught us
I have this inside joke with my fiance that drives her crazy and makes her hit me about the sheriff, because I don't know if you've ever noticed when you're watching a lot of like TV series, is the sheriff just seems to be sleeping with everybody all the time.
all the time.
And I say,
And the pastor. The
and I
pastor
would say
always
the
does too.
sheriff. And she goes, "Don't you dare do it." And I say, the sheriff is supposed to service the community. And the
Says it right there.
and the NFL coach is the sheriff
of the team.
of a sports city.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on.
100%.
Well, it's funny because you brought up
He's just
the
giving inside
Titans
information.
cutting ties because they don't play like that. And of course, he goes back to New England where we know
They play like
Kraft plays like that. Just saying.
They play like that for sure.
I
didn't think anything of it when it first came out, but until the clips came out from the past year or two of all these interviews where she was talking with Vrabel, and pumping it up, and oh man, you've been working out.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
and I'm pretty sure the one that we played was from Super Bowl time, somewhere in that area. So it has been pretty recent here that she has said stuff like this. But
Bill Belichick heard about it and was like, "Okay, my players can come to New England now to see your games."
Well, it was funny because she came back and did an interview yesterday. I believe it was on Get Up, and they immediately asked her about it, and she said, "No, I mean my husband's a 2 out of 5," and I'm like, "Why are you continuing to take bashes?"
She seems awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
as long as you're not,
how are you not divorced yet?
As long as you're not her husband, she seems like a blast,
right?
Dude,
like, hilarious.
I can't. Like, that's the thing that I kind of feel bad for is I feel bad for her husband or soon to be ex-husband because she takes shots every chance she gets.
Executive at Shake Shack. I looked it up. Imagine walking through the C-suite this week.
You see she was with Vrabel.
See, I picture a guy like Better Call Saul or something.
Exactly.
There is not a chocolate milkshake tall enough in the world to ease those pains.
I just can't, dude. Again, it's a talking point right now just because the draft is around the corner. We really have nothing else to talk about when it comes to the NFL. Let's be honest, because your team still hasn't traded AJ.
Well, look who they've been talking about trading him to.
True.
Inside sources. That's what really makes me upset. Is this seems like a little nefarious behavior to try to get AJ over to New England. Now he's got double agents because her husband's favorite team is the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know if you knew that.
I saw
we got a double agent on our
and
hands.
She used to actually work with the Eagles.
Which, by the way, also to your point that they're just fishing for stories, I did a little bit of digging. The A.J. Brown stuff, nothing is going to happen until June or July anyway because of the dead cap.
Yeah, but we can still hear of a deal.
But every week they go, is A.J. going to get traded before the draft? And everybody knows the Eagles would take a $30 million hit if they trade him before the draft. And so it's not going to happen until
it's like
2
the Tua
months
thing.
after.
There was the post June 1, but he's already signed another team.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's so weird with how they do the writing. But I know respectfully, your tour started last week.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to say about this whole thing is the tour is going great.
How did night one go?
Night one was fantastic. Filled the room. The room was beautiful, by the way. I didn't know what I was walking into, and I walked in at first, and it was this big, empty, giant room, and just a bunch of people on the wall staring at me because I showed up so early. But apparently, they had what's the bean? There was a cornhole tournament, and they were just doing a little thing afterwards. So they leave, and like 5 minutes later, the staff closes 2 curtains, and all of a sudden we have like a comedy club level show, like little tiny tables and chairs. If you see, I have the pictures on social media. I mean, it's just a beautiful room, filled up nicely. Town was great. Crowd was great. Staff was amazing. Yeah, the Patriot. It's
the Patriot way.
It's the. I brought my.
Why is everything coming back to my cradle today?
I brought my woman with me. She was there the whole time. She was taking tickets.
You weren't dancing with somebody?
I wasn't
else?
dancing.
Okay.
Someone did offer to buy her a drink, by the way, and she declined. And afterwards, I was like, "Why?
Why?
I'm
right here.
That for me.
I'm not saying dance to a song with him after the thing, but just take a drink. I mean, come on, I spent enough on promo for the show. I'll take a drink if he wants to buy if he wants to buy me a drink.
I've done that where we've gone out and somebody has bought a drink and they sit on the other side of the bar and then the guy comes up and says, "Hey, this guy over here at the corner bought you a drink," and I'll grab the drink and take it and I'll say, "Thanks,
man."
That shows me my growth as a human being because I used to get really jealous, and if that would happen, a guy would I'd want to fight. But now a guy I remember before one show, again, this happens all the time. There's a guy he's angling and I was like, "Yeah, I'm standing on the other side. Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Go do it.
Go ahead, buddy. She's gonna want a sweet treat every hour and a half." You really ready for that?
Oh Lord. See, I think it's just more the Philadelphian in you. That's why you would get angry.
Heck, there
is a jealousy.
There is a little. I start with anger and work backwards.
Exactly.
To find a reason.
It's the Irish part.
that is a really good point.
I know before we get into wrestling, because I know that will take over, but the WNBA announced yesterday they are actually approved the expansion starting with Cleveland.
Toronto?
Cleveland will be the first one in 2028. Detroit followed in 2029. Okay. And then good old Philly joins in 2030.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Actually, that'll be great.
So
do you think?
Finally, a basketball team that has a chance. Yeah.
I was actually going to ask about that.
I'm not even
Did you see the appendicitis thing that Joel's going through right now?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Apparently,
see
he had to get a procedure yesterday because he was diagnosed with appendicitis and now will be gone for the foreseeable future.
For a couple of weeks, they're already talking about just putting him down.
Yeah, pack it in.
Just put him down.
It's like at this point, was he even still playing basketball?
Just like an old racehorse. Like, come on, you're not. I know there's going to be some.
There's going to be a little bit left in you.
Just going to make a baseball glove out of him.
Sea biscuits.
Oh,
just put him out.
Just, you know what?
Take him to the glue factory.
He looks hurt all the time. He looks hurt healthy.
He plays hurt.
He
probably.
plays hurt. He speaks hurt. Like yeah.
I remember when we were all saying trust the process with this guy too. And
Oh,
everybody was thinking that this was going to be the next big guy. Yeah, I never really felt that way.
He had some real moments. I'll tell you, when they chose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler, it was pretty much over.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
At that point. And now we have this thing. Philly is, in the basketball sense, is famous for having a superstar that pops up for 2.5 years, nothing happens with them, and then they go somewhere else and they're just a bit player.
Charles Barkley.
We had that with Ben Simmons. I think we had a Lou Williams run for a little while. I'm not even a Sixers fan. I don't know that there are any 76ers fans. I think there are Allen Iverson fans that don't want to buy a different jersey. So they're like, all right.
Those were sweet jerseys, though. Let's be honest. The black ones, those were some sweet jerseys.
When we grew up, I was a skinny kid with a unibrow. I was a dork. What a renaissance time for skinny kids. Allen Iverson, Tupac Shakur, DMX. Pretend skinny tough guys. Come on, man.
It makes you all think that you could wear a headband.
What a time to be alive and 130 pounds, but with a real attitude of a big guy.
That is great.
I couldn't do the headband. I would wear the big soccer socks though.
Oh yeah.
That made you look like you have circulation issues at 14.
Yes. I would wear.
You're doing laps around the mall.
I used to play the 3-on-3 basketball tournament every year, and you would see the only little white kid, and he would have bright big socks. See me a mile away.
You know what I would do when I was playing in high school basketball? I would do the wristband around just above the elbow. And then like 2.5 minutes into the game, I was like, all right, this is just not take it off. Okay, I'm not this guy. Every game I would start out as maybe I'm this guy tonight. Nope. Still not.
Can't do it.
Still not the guy.
I would think the same thing. And then halfway through, I would be like, why is this even on? Like, what does this do?
Yes.
Like, what is this supposed to be here for?
Well, and I'm 130 pounds, so it had already slid down 4 times before tip off.
I had to wear goggles a lot during.
You were that kid.
I did, and they would fog up on me, so I would literally be running up the court and have to rip them off my face and throw them at my coach because they wouldn't work.
To this day, I sniffle constantly, especially if my nose gets agitated. It's a real problem that bothers people and makes people think I'm on drugs and all that stuff because I got my nose broken game 4 into my senior season. And the options were don't go to the doctor and get it or go to the doctor and get it reset and have to wear one of those elephant boy masks for the rest of the season. And I was like, I can't get a cheerleader to look at me to save my life as it is. There's not a chance.
You could have been the white Rip Hamilton and you said no.
What's
wrong with you?
Coming from Horace Grant over here.
Just saying, man. You have to lean into it. I actually was all for wearing the goggles until they started fogging up on me. Then I said, I can't do this. I can't see the court.
Yeah, not a chance.
Oh, man. We got to talk a little bit of football, though, because I wanted to get your thoughts on this Devin McCourty bite that we haven't gotten to play yet. We were talking about C.J. Stroud and this entire situation with the Texans. They have extended him for a year, given them player option. But after last year's really rough season, everybody's really questioning if he has what it takes anymore, which I think is kind of wild. He's really only had one bad year, and it was half a bad year. But real quick, this is what McCourty had to say, and then we'll get everybody's thoughts on the other side.
When you go in and you play in the biggest stage in the playoffs the way he did, you should have concerns. You should have question marks. I think this is a crucial year. I don't think it's a make or break it year for him because even if he doesn't get back to his rookie year performance this year, he'll still have another year under the 2027. So for Nick Cassero, the general manager, you now get 2 more years to evaluate C.J. Stroud to decide, all right, is he going to be an extension that may be worth $35-40 million, or is he going to elevate himself back to where he's at the top of the quarterback conversation and we're looking at that $60 million range?
Here's my problem with what he said. he doesn't have 2 years. Because let's be honest, if it doesn't work out this year, they're not going to be shopping around with the idea of extending him in 2027. They're going to be moving off of him and trying to find somebody to lead this team because they're too good to not be a contender when it comes to Houston.
You're right. He's probably not even got this year. He's probably got 4 games before they start
really
absolutely burying him.
That's what I didn't understand why they signed the option.
Right. Well, again, I get it from a sense that you want to see if it's a make or break year for him and if he can bounce back and be the guy that he looked like when he was a rookie. But I just don't think that the timetable's right. I think that it would be nice to believe you have 2 years to figure this out if you're CJ, but in all reality, you have maybe 1.
Well, in the way, at least from what I remember, it seemed like the whole team kind of folded in on him at the end of last year, as pointing him out as the reason. I think you really have. When you get to that point, it probably is time to move on both sides. You can extend this thing out for a little while, but I worry and assume we're going to run into a Kyler Murray situation where it just doesn't work out for this quarterback in this team.
Yep.
And a fresh start on both sides is probably the way to go.
And probably was the option just so they can get some type of value out of it when they do trade him.
Right.
And I think it's pretty much over with him in Houston. I've seen it.
You've seen it.
I've seen it. And I'm not a big fan of him in Houston. I don't know if it was because he's constantly dealing with injuries on with the wide receiver, the offensive line every year. I don't know if it's the scheme. I don't know. I just don't think it's going to be a fit with him and Houston. It's probably the time for a breakup.
It could be, but at the same time, I just don't know if there's anybody that's good enough to really fill that void for the Houston Texans now.
Like everyone's talking about next year's draft.
I know, but that's my problem is that are you willing to sit there and hit the reset button with a rookie and hope and pray that he was just as good as CJ was when he was a rookie? Because let's be honest, that was an outlier season. We didn't see that from a rookie quarterback really since RG3 before him. And it's not something that every quarterback could really roll into and just say, I'm going to be the most successful rookie quarterback in the NFL's history.
Well, and as far as landing spots, where would you see him going?
It really just depends on the situation at the time. Because honestly, if Atlanta doesn't feel like they like any of the quarterbacks, I could see them making a move for him. If any of the quarterback or teams just give up on their quarterback this season after a year, maybe the Colts give up on Daniel Jones if he doesn't look like the same guy.
And some of these teams with older quarterbacks that are probably on their way out, whether it's Stafford or guys like that.
Would you be happy to hear that Arthur Blank is holding hands with him at a resort in Arizona somewhere?
To be honest,
as friends, everyone does that.
Everybody does.
Clearly,
everybody does that. They dance together too. Okay, it's okay. Friends, guys and girls can be friends.
If you ever see me with no arms show up to a show on a Friday, it's because I danced with a friend.
Look, we were talking about your jealousy issues. Maybe there's a little bit on the other side. We don't know.
Well, before the NBA playoffs start up, is there any teams that you're keeping an eye out on?
I'll tell you what, and a little bit strange, but I really want to see. I really want to see between Atlanta and Toronto, and I think you were just talking about this. I think they're both at 45 wins. If Atlanta creeps into that 5 seed, I think we've got a real opportunity that Cleveland's going to get knocked out in the first round.
I won't go that far.
Of course he won't.
Of course you won't go that.
Yeah,
but if you look at it, I mean, I think Atlanta's won like 10 of its last 12 for whatever reason with a no-name team are absolutely surging, and I don't trust anything James Harden in the playoffs. And again, the handsome underperformer Donovan Mitchell, I don't trust him as well.
He
too pretty to win.
Performs in the playoffs. Let's not get crazy. James Harden does not.
He scores a lot of points while hurt in the playoffs, but he's too handsome to win. He looks beautiful while dropping 35 points and giving up 42.
Not to put a sidebar here, but I really need to watch that show too that him and Eli Manning just did. Have you seen that? Where he goes and is the head coach of a youth basketball team. It looks actually pretty interesting. It's one of those things that they did with Eli where they put prosthetics on his face and make him look like somebody else. It's going to be pretty interesting. But back to the topic at hand here. Cleveland has enough on that roster to take out Ricochet and the Hawks.
Well, you listeners and viewers heard it here. I'll go $1. We're shaking hands on it right now. I'll go $1 on the series. If Atlanta can wiggle its way into that 5 seed.
Even if they don't, if they're at some point in the playoff run, Atlanta and Cleveland meet each other, I will gladly hold up on this bet.
Well, I don't think I don't think they will play in the second round. But if Atlanta gets into that 5 seed, they are playing Detroit in round 2. Is what my dollar is going on.
Do you think there's a team that can knock out OKC in the West? Because I mean, there's some talent, but I don't know if the tiers line up where OKC, San Antonio, OKC, Denver.
I do think so. I think Denver can and might. I don't think San Antonio is ready yet. LA fell apart at the end of the year. I don't even think they're going to stay in the 4 seed. I think they may drop to the 5 seed as well by the time the playoffs start, which doesn't really matter. It'll be Houston either way. I don't trust Houston with it, but I really think if I had to pick a team to win it all this year, I think this might be Denver's year.
Again,
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
What about the team is making you feel that way?
They're surging at the right time, and it's been surprising to me that they haven't had deeper pushes the last 2 years because of the construction of that lineup. Now with all the coaching changes and all that stuff, that does make sense. I could see that putting a damper on team chemistry and pushing late into the playoffs. But I think I've looked at them as a potential favorite each year, the last 4 or 5 years.
You can never count out the Nuggets.
Oklahoma City's been bit a little bit by the injury bug this year. It's really hard to win it 2 years in a row. You all know that I'm probably biased outside of favor of OKC. So if the refs decide not to join them as part of the team for this round of playoffs, it's going to be very difficult for them to make that same run. I don't think they're going to have a repeat. I think it's Denver's year. And I don't think anybody in the East gives Denver too many problems.
No, again, the East is so up in the air, though. I mean, outside of Boston, I really don't see a perennial powerhouse on the East side that can just run through anybody, and that includes the Detroit Pistons, who look great. But it's funny you bring up the foul baiting thing, because I think that's going to be the NBA's problem next season after they fix all the stuff going on this year, because that has become a major talking point for a lot of fans, is that they are kind of tired of seeing all these players foul bait and really just start to just make the game slow again.
It is so hard to watch because I know we've talked about this a bunch, but you've got the foul baiting, you've got teams taking 40 to 50 3-pointers per game, and and you have no idea where you're going to watch a game any given night.
Right.
I'm an avid NBA, WNBA fan. I have a miserable time trying to find out where are they playing on the Peacock app,
Me too.
ESPN, Amazon Prime. I have no idea where to find a game anymore.
I don't even know where Inside the NBA is anymore, if I'm being honest. I'm sure it's on ESPN Plus or whatever.
I know it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube TV.
I'm the same way, because I'll open up the YouTube app, I'll open up Prime, I'll open up Peacock. I'm like, where are the games?
Right.
And it always lands up where, okay, well, Peacock last night, I think it was Peacock or Prime. I was going to watch The Boys or something, and I saw, there's a doubleheader. There was the Warriors, Lakers, and Celtics and someone else.
And I know they're getting more money now, a ton more money in the short term. But as far as brand recognition and long-term staying power for your brand, every Tuesday night, Adam Lefkoe, Candace Parker, Shaquille O'Neal. Every Thursday night, the whole Inside the NBA crew on TNT. You knew exactly where to find the games, and you were invested throughout the whole season. I do not feel that anymore.
No. And we talked about it yesterday. Shaq is teaming up with TNT to create a slam dunk league, where they're going to have 24 players and they'll compete in different types of events. And I believe the winner of this 24 player tournament will win $500,000. And Shaq is trying to make this a official league that is going to, be a thing every year at this time. I believe it starts next week, but personally, I mean, we talked about this yesterday. I mean, the slam dunk contest, it's a snore fest.
I was gonna say, it's nice to hear that Mac McClung will get a nice little $500,000
Right?
summer bonus. Just give him the money.
Gerald Green comes out of retirement just solely to win $500,000.
Jeez, why don't you just give him
Carter
the trophy?
Still has the bounce. I don't know. Again, if the big three didn't work out, I don't see a slam dunk league working out.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying big three is not working out in a sense that it's not going, because it's still going and it's on television. But let's be honest, has anybody listening to my voice right now actually watched the big three?
Name 2 teams on the big three.
Yeah,
I have same thing. I have no idea.
No clue. So that's what I'm saying is, like, if we're going to be trying to create more for basketball and get more eyes on the product, there are better ways to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, if we're going to have a dunk league, we should just do the trampoline thing that they had a couple years ago, and we go back to that kind of basketball. What was it? Slam ball, I believe is what they called it.
Slam ball was fun. Did they do a documentary on slam ball? I feel like a lot of people were severely injured on slam ball.
I think they did, because I think it came out around the same time that Netflix did that one on the American Gladiators.
I was just going to say that's what made me
I'll tell you
that
what,
was a hell of a series.
I'll tell you what I think the world could use again is and one mixtape tour. Considering the success of the Savannah Banana, all that nonsense.
No, that's
come on.
No, I 100%. I've said that forever. And honestly, baseball should get on the Savannah Bananas train with the All-Star game. And I've said that for years too, although I get a lot of grief for that.
Yeah.
But no, I've said the same thing. Instead of a slam dunk league, bring and one back, bring street ball back, bring something different. We don't need challenges that are all dunk challenges.
By the way, the professor is still out there doing it, and he looks younger than he did in 2000.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
You got to check out the professor's Instagram. He's still out there. He is out there.
No kidding. I'm
murdering.
gonna have to find that. We got to take a break real quick. Can you stick around?
I'm here.
Absolutely. We'll get into some wrestling stuff on the other side. We're about a week away from WrestleMania, and we heard from Shawn Michaels as he went on the what's Carmelo Anthony's podcast, the 7 o'clock in Brooklyn, I believe.
Like that.
He went on 7 o'clock in Brooklyn, talked about why we never got him against The Rock at all in the WWE. So we'll talk about that on the other side. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk.
What's the betting odds that this man shows up in a week?
I think he'll be there.
I do too.
Wouldn't be surprised if he shows up and helps Roman win that belt.
I mean, they've been forced. So I was thinking for the longest time that we were giving the belt to Roman. I'm now starting to think Punker is going to keep it, and now we start a rivalry between Punk and Dwayne for SummerSlam.
Well,
And see, I've seen the other ones that where The Rock comes out, helps him, and then turns on him.
Turns on Roman?
Yeah.
I could see that as well. I mean, the high chief kind of thing.
Oh, and they
So
finally
actually
get their
leading the
match.
family.
Yeah.
And then they go on their separate ways.
Yeah, but again,
They both go film something and never actually
Never
they just
come back.
blow another storyline.
well, hey, they filmed a movie together. Come on now.
Who's that?
Rock and Roman, they filmed a movie together.
Really?
And actually, Roman and Punk did too.
Oh yeah,
I know
the
Roman
one
and
I just
Punk did,
saw.
but what did Rock and Roman film together?
Hobbs and Shaw. Roman's and Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh,
He's one of the.
really?
Yeah, remember when they go to Rock's family and it's all the Samoans?
I have never seen.
You don't remember
Hobbs and
that?
Shaw.
Oh no, it's-
no. I've stopped watching like 977 Fast and Furiouses ago.
That was actually a really cool scene too of the two of them like throwing axe. I missed the joke. I'm sorry. What
No, it wasn't.
I just saw his face as soon as you said that was a really good scene. He just turned his head.
Huh? Oh no, I'm sorry. I was thinking in my head. I was like,
No, please.
There's a really cool scene with the two of them where I think they're throwing axes. I can't remember what it is, but it's a story that Roman accidentally threw his whatever it was, either their axe or a hammer, and hit the cameraman. Like while they were
he
filming
really
the
did?
movie. Yeah, it felt so bad about it. Apparently, it's great. But with WrestleMania right around the corner, and since we're already talking, about The
Hosted by
Rock-
John Cena.
hosted by John Cena, absolutely. They need to do everything they can just to sell out this thing, man.
Please.
They
Yes.
really do.
They're gonna be giving away tickets.
One talking point that has come around, it's a bite that I wanted to play. Shawn Michaels went on a podcast with Carmelo Anthony where they addressed why we never got a Shawn Michaels against The Rock match at WrestleMania, and this is the answer that he gave.
He didn't like me.
Oh, right. Okay, that's a quick answer.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I will say this again. I think in years he had there's a big kerfuffle in the wrestling business about me and Hunter doing stuff to him and being mean and stuff like that. All of it way blown out of proportion. None of it even accurate. But things that he was when he was younger was fed a lot.
Right.
But again, later on. And to this day, like we get along and we talk about stuff. That's one I think everybody would have liked to have seen. But by the time I came back, he was well off into his Hollywood career.
Yep.
So there has been at least a little bit of time that these two men were in the company at the same time. As I said at the beginning of the show, Shawn Michaels, dealing with a lot of drug issues during his career, was gone for the portion that The Rock was really at his height, though. Are you two as disappointed as some of the rest of the world, though, that we never got that match? I personally think that it would have been cool, but I mean,
Screw it, let's do it now.
Yeah, I think it would have been cool, but I think it would have been cool. But we saw Shawn Michaels Hogan, which is basically, as
same
far as
thing.
in ring
Shouldn't have
goes,
ever
it's
happened.
basically the
I mean,
same
Shawn
thing.
Michaels and Ric Flair.
That's
Really,
I was gonna say
kinda
the one with
thing.
Hogan, the one with Flair, the last one with the Undertaker. We could have went with all of those.
Shawn Michaels with a broomstick is dynamite
Right.
at WrestleMania. It doesn't really matter, but I will say, Conspiracy Christopher is here,
Yeah.
if you'll oblige me. And
Of course.
man, are they playing this thing perfectly right now? That we are fighting against TKO and oh man,
See, that was the thing I was going to bring up because not only that, but now the Pat McAfee thing, where there's supposed to be some major announcement and appearance from somebody tonight.
So Shawn Michaels for 10 years has talked about his misgivings and how poorly he treated everybody while he was in the throes
Inebriated, yeah.
of his addiction. And now all of a sudden, during the course of a week, we have Hunter has gone on Cody
Cody's
Rhodes'
podcast.
podcast.
I watched that last night.
We have Cody Rhodes do a shoot promo against SmackDown in the middle of SmackDown, how it's being booked. Clearly, it's supposed to be a shot at TKO. We have Punker, the ultimate rebel, who no one has been treated better since the TKO merger than he's been the heavyweight champ, I think, twice.
Yep.
His wife has been given a belt on a part-time schedule.
Yep.
His best wrestling buddy has come back and gotten tons of merch and millions of dollars without even wrestling a match. And now he's got a huge problem with TKO, and again targeting specifically The Rock. Now Shawn Michaels goes out on a podcast and goes, we didn't even really actually bully him after spending 10 years saying I'm sorry for how he treated everybody around here.
And
chef's kiss.
I
Beautiful.
find that to be a little ridiculous too, to say, oh, we didn't do anything to him, or oh, it wasn't accurate. Every story that I've heard about the early interactions of The Rock and Triple H, at least, have not been pleasant. They were not very good buddies. Let's just put it that way. They were very much rivals in the industry.
Absolutely. And there's countless stories of the clique treating new talent very poorly,
especially the Nepo babies.
Yeah, by their own accounts, they said that they did that. So I think it's just fortuitous timing that we're building this sort of WWE versus TKO, Triple H and his main stable of stars versus the board of directors and The Rock and his boy Roman Reigns. I if that's what's going on, they're setting this thing up perfectly, both directly and with these little subtle things.
I think it's, once again, as I said earlier in the show, it's another instance of them blurring the line of what's real and what's not. And it also is giving with the fans what they want, because let's be honest, most IWC fans right now have been absolutely irate with the way that TKO has been handling their favorite product and pretty much pricing them out and pricing out all their families. So why not use that to their advantage, as they've done a million times over? And like we said earlier in the show as well, utilize
saying, what in the world is TKO doing? If this is really,
I think it is intentional. It has to be intentional. There's no way it's not. You know what I mean? Because if it's intentional, how are you allowing guys like CM Punk and all of these other guys just to show up to your show and criticize your main parent company? It just doesn't happen in business. It doesn't. Yeah. That's like the NFL allowing football players to show up to press conferences and just be outwardly just critical of Roger Goodell and everybody else involved. And that's just not how things fly and work in general.
I think we're going to
I would assume so, yes.
I think we're going to learn a whole lot when Roman gets his opportunity to go out in the ring and hit the mic as to how much of that was a shoot and how much of this is a work, because he's the one that I see that took some real collateral damage shots with the eat dog food for a weird old man whole deal and being plastic and propped up. And I know it's nothing they haven't heard before, but it was a little bit further below the belt than he's used to being punched by someone on the mic.
Yes.
So I think we'll really see how much of that is real when we get his opportunity on the mic.
How much do you think we're going to be seeing in this last week before the show? Because there is a rumor that there's still one more match they want to throw out there, since there's 7 in the first night and 6 in the second.
How much, when you say how?
And I'm sorry, and also I have to tighten up a little bit, because what we were complaining about the other day when they announced the card, I was under the impression that the first hour was going to be like a pre-show thing. It is not. That is still the actual WrestleMania card. Gotcha. It's just starting an hour it's
just not the main card. It's the first hour is on on ESPN.
It's still the main card, but but they're just giving everybody access to it for free on ESPN and ESPN2.
So that's how they're trying to work out the main events, because they booked so many damn main events. They're like, okay, how are we going to do this and still please everyone? Because the big announcement with the Oba and Brock match being in the first hour was like, what? What do you mean? Because this is one of the big fights or the big matches that everyone's looking forward to.
Right.
And I still think either there's going to be one set up during WrestleMania or they're going to announce one tonight.
Have we found out when the Rhea Jade Cargill title match is? That night 1?
I believe that's night 2.
Okay, if that's night 2,
I think Liv and McCare is the first night.
Let me double check that,
because my first thought was, if that's night 1, I have a suspicion that we will not get a WrestleMania match officially announced until the end of night 1, where we'll get some sort of amalgamation tag match on night 2. But if Rhea Jade Cargill is night one, I feel like they've got to do something with this EO.
It's night two.
It's night two.
It
Okay.
is night two.
Then my guess is I'm just going to go easy money and say they do something with the EO Sky Asuka Kyrie, make some sort of match out of that.
Yeah, night one, the main event is Cody and Randy, and then you got Stephanie and Liv, Seth and Gunther, AJ and Becky. Then the women's tag match, which again I think should have been on Friday Night SmackDown beforehand,
Agreed.
if I'm being honest. And then the free hour that you can check out on ESPN2 will be Jacob Fatu and the 6-man tag between ISHO Speed and the Vision against the Usos and LA Knight.
I think we finally see Flair, and I think a lot of these tag teams are going to split because I think we need a Charlotte solo run. We need a couple of these other ones that are just kind of ran their course.
Who do you think walks out with the women's belts?
I think they keep it.
You think so?
You think Jade and Stephanie both keep their belts?
No, I'm talking about the tag team.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was so in favor of them winning the belts. I thought it made so much sense. They've had it for a couple of weeks now. I think the pairings, they haven't really worked real well in the ring, and Nia Jax's gas tank is just brutal right now. I mean, a minute and a half into the match, she seems gassed, and I don't know that she's ready for a long run like this.
I think if anybody out of the tag teams are going to pull the title, I think it'll be Bayley and Lyra. I just think they're working them so much.
Yeah, I was gonna say if they want to shove them down everybody's throats, absolutely, I can see them doing that because that's something they've done. But I think they really like this pairing of Nia and Lash, and they're gonna let them run for a while.
Yep.
It would make a lot of sense to me to build Lash's character that you let her have this run with Nia and pretty much learn to be the next big bad woman in the entire company because that's what they need.
She's really got the athleticism to do it too.
Oh, absolutely.
So much so that it puts a damper on Raquel and the other other big strong girls. When you see a former WNBA caliber athlete out there, you go, oh man, it's tough to see Raquel as the big enforcer now.
And I wanted to get your thoughts on that as well, both of you, because that is a criticism that's come out the last couple months specifically, that a lot of these major stars that they're getting don't really like wrestling. They're just more doing it because whatever they were doing beforehand didn't work out and they found a secondary avenue. I personally have seen no shift in terms of the quality of work in which they're giving. I think that if you loved wrestling, or if you didn't love wrestling, as long as you're putting out a good product out in the ring, it really doesn't matter. But a lot of people are up in arms, especially with people like Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill, because they don't specifically love wrestling as a product.
Well, and that's life. I mean, I'm a comedian because I didn't get drafted by the Chicago Bulls out of Shenandoah Valley Junior Senior High School. So, I mean, yes, the WWE is full of a bunch of extremely talented people that failed at what they originally wanted to be good at, like The Rock. I mean, the biggest star maybe in WWE history, but I give credit to the Tiffany Strattons and the Lash Legends who came from another place that might not be tried and true WWE stars, but they show and they're at the Performance Center taking bumps, as opposed to you've got a McAfee in a jelly roll, which while they respect the product, they moonlight by showing up every 4 months to year and a half and also getting WrestleMania.
So you get guys like I show, getting a WrestleMania match. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was the Braun Breaker. You think we see him during these Gunther Seth match?
I do. I think it's the way we get a Gunther beating Seth and save face for both of them, because I don't see, considering what you've created now with Gunther and Paul Heyman, I don't see how you can have Gunther lose this match.
No.
But considering what Seth is going to after this, without some sort of interference from Braun Breaker and or Bronson Reed, I don't see how you let him lose this match. So it's the clearest path to getting both storylines where they need to go.
Well,
I just hope it's not the Foot Clan and he pulls off the mask.
It's going to start that way. I guarantee you they do that at some point, that he runs interference with the Foot Clan at some point, as we keep calling them. But I agree with you. I've said the same thing, especially when Sparky had broke to me that they had cleared Braun Breaker for any kind of work he would like to do. So it only makes sense that we get a spear. And I'm going to lean on what I said a couple weeks ago. Wouldn't be surprised if Braun ends up being one of those masked men in disguise, and that's how they end up getting Seth.
That's fun.
I genuinely think that would be the best way for him to come back. And maybe Bronson too. Who knows?
Yeah.
maybe they get both of them in a suit. But
and if not, maybe Gunther steps in. But I've got one question from a listener and another one that I wanted to ask you before SmackDown tonight, because they have made the major announcement, which we haven't even got to the Orton and Cody stuff. So I'll bring it in with the Pat McAfee thing. There, he is getting so much, whether it's the sports world that's bashing the wrestling side or the wrestling side bashing him. Why do we need Pat McAfee involved with this feud that's got so many years of the story set up perfectly? And why would Pat McAfee, out of all of them, be the one?
Last year. It's the exact same thing we got last year when it came to what was the rapper that showed up, Travis Scott.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they made a big announcement yesterday that they will be a big announcement tonight, and a special appearance with Pat McAfee is supposed to be dropping a mic tonight.
Yeah, this is the problem. This is the problem with corporate life: is you get these mergers where you connect worlds, and in a boardroom, it seems to make total sense to go, okay, well, we've got these Endeavor, this Endeavor talent that we have signed. They're crushing it in different ways. We do brand partnerships where they put these two together, and it helps both, and it'll help the stock
price.
Is
it going to be a Gronk?
I think it's going to be Rock. Or I would like to say it's going to be Rock, but let's be honest, it's the WWE, so they'll give us somebody that nobody is really thinking of.
He said it's a special guest.
Yeah, a special appearance. I was just thinking with the sports world with Pat McAfee, it'll be some type of sport.
Honestly,
and I was thinking, okay, well, they've already promoted Gronk doing his little Gronk beach party out at WrestleMania. Maybe he comes out tonight.
Let's make it Vrabel. Now that I'd like to see.
That'd be interesting.
That I'd like to see. Bring Vrabel out. Diana
wife.
Rossini can be his manager.
Tom
his
Brady
his real wife can come out like Linda McMahon and slap Rossini. It'd be fantastic.
That would be.
But
awesome.
we did have a listener saying, if you guys are going to talk wrestling, ask your guest or Chris if they remember one of the two main events of last year's WrestleMania.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Cody, Seth, and Roman.
Yeah.
The betrayal of Paul Heyman.
Cody and Cena
And
was one
then-
night.
Yeah, and then the Punker night one.
Punk,
where
Roman,
he
and
was.
Seth.
Yep.
Yeah, where Seth
See?
dropped
There you go.
Where Seth dropped the crutches.
I mean, again,
I remember that. That was one of
Are
my
we
favorites.
asking that because you don't think that they've?
No, they were just asking. Do you remember what the main events was?
I'm more asking the listener. Like, are you asking that because you don't think that they came up big and they were not memorable, or like how? What was the reasoning for the questioning? But it is what it is.
That's when you get text messages.
Remember that? It was like the
Seth-
Chris Farley. Hey, you remember when Seth dropped the crutches? That was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, again, this year's is going to be just as good as last year's, if I'm being honest, if not better. But the matches probably meant more last year in terms of storyline. In my opinion.
Cena. I personally love all the matches, even the women's tag. I'm looking forward to this one.
Was WrestleMania was when Cena carried Cody up the Cody Vader, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic! Who's gonna have that kind of moment at WrestleMania this time where they walk?
It's got to be
we're gonna get the Cody Vader again. Do we get because this WrestleMania ramp is going to be 9,400 feet.
Yep, and Finn Balor's going to have to crawl the whole thing as the demon.
Oh, do we get a Danhausen disappearance where he has to run that whole ramp with the lights on?
100%.
Because that's going to be like a 35-second runaway.
Absolutely has to happen.
Tremendous.
Oh my god! But yeah, no. Again, this year's WrestleMania is going to be so much fun to watch, but my question still remains: what's going to be that 14th match?
Again, for me, I'm thinking Io, Asuka, Kyrie.
They just throw something in there for the three of them.
I think or it's just Io versus Asuka, and Kyrie is on the side. But I think you've got to get them. I think you've got to get them into some kind of. They've been building this storyline so much in the videos. The videos off show. I don't know how you build all this up and don't put them into.
I just find it weird that the one belt that's not being defended at this is the U.S. Women's title, which they had a story brewing between Julia and Tiffany for a while, but then just kind of gave up on it halfway through.
Yeah.
So
I think the solo one could be too.
Oh, that's
maybe
true too.
Solo against
and
the
MFTs.
guy. Maybe Solo against the guy that he's been kind of going back and forth with.
Uncle Howdy.
No, one of the Tongas.
Tama.
Get custody of the lantern back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, didn't they gave it back to him, like
he gave it back. Yeah, he gave it back because it was ruining Solo. So
it was turning him into Roman. That's what it was.
Because I could see somehow, some way, Solo back with with them.
It would be great to have a refill your refreshments and snacks match at WrestleMania, I guess, because that would be my run to the restroom match.
I'll be a Dionysus, so yes, refill it, Kyle.
To be fair, that's the Sami Zayn Trick Williams match for me.
Oh my gosh,
that's
I love
fair.
Trick, and I hope he wins that belt. But
Me
at this
too.
point, I did not need to see Sami Zayn at WrestleMania
I
again. I just
know.
didn't. It should have been Carmelo
It
Hayes.
should have been Carmelo.
It should have been Carmelo.
It would have
and
been a
Trick.
tremendous match.
And anybody who's watched NXT longer than 2 years knows that would cook so well.
What deal has Sammy done with the devil?
Now, again, and I don't mean to make this as if Sammy is doing this to be a new age Hogan, but it just seems to me like there might be a little favoritism there. But
I
who
can't
knows?
believe they had him keep the belt with the challenge of Carmelo last SmackDown, and in the Carmelo getting hurt during the thing. It's like, man, no, you're not fooling us here.
No, again, they needed a massive pivot to get a belt on him. And I am still going to say that I think night 2 ends with the old bloodline, all of them, maybe even Solo.
That's what I was thinking. Solo back with
Oh,
him.
wow.
With belts in their hand. Because who's to say the Usos don't just take those belts away from the Vision? Not because they won the match, but say at the end of them, they decide we're going full heel. They knock out LA Knight as well. And they just say, these are ours. And they walk away with them. The end of night 2, all of the bloodline are all holding belts again
Together
with fireworks going.
And with
How does that
Rock
work?
hitting Roman with the chair as they go out.
Yeah, as it all ends.
I personally, the one with Drew and Jacob Fatu ran their course for me.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, you know what? And Jacob could be the new enforcer. We don't even need Solo. I didn't even consider that. Jacob's already got a match.
Do you still want Punker to lose the belt to
Hell
Roman
yes.
more than anything?
Even
After that
Becky.
promo.
Even if it means you have to watch him do a Superman punch.
I want Becky and Roman getting their titles, because if I have to watch AJ Lee do her little hopscotch, whatever the hell she does, she is the most annoying chick on that whole roster.
Oh, he's not going to be happy.
And
when
I
we have
hope
to sit
Liv's
through
forehead
AJ
is cleared
Lee,
up before
Roxanne.
WrestleMania as well, because that bump on her head is just so
Her
sad.
and Roxanne both had unicorn bumps, man. That was ugly.
Well, they went to a basketball game last night, and they had to center it right up.
Yep, of
Put her on
course
the
they do.
Titans run.
Wild.
They could have dribbled it.
Sir, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you as always. We will see you next week.
Always a pleasure.
We got to get out of here for the week. Join us back here on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Go out to DJ's football camp tomorrow. If you have not signed up, sorry, it's already sold out. You can't do it. You'll have to wait till next year. But until Monday, Sparky, let's get out of here.